Last week on Coast Life, we installed refrigeration, went yacht club hopping, saw the fireworks, and found something dead on the beach. For more up-to-date posts and other fun stuff, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram. We'd love to have you along. Links are in the description below. One thing I may not have mentioned about the inflatable tubes is that they're made out of Hypalon. The only way to even build a Hypalon boat is with glue. So you could argue that there might be too many patches on this boat, but you could also argue that the entire boat is made of a patch. Alright, so we're all glued up. We gotta wait 30 minutes and then we can supply a second layer of glue, and then we wait about 5 to 10 minutes. Then we stick it on and we attack it with this. Smoothing out all the bubbles. Getting some pressure. What kind of things do I get up to when I'm waiting 30 minutes for glue to dry? Sanding glue off of old Hypalon. We got all the patches on, a lot of them. Boop, 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 boop. There we go. That should be our type. I'll let those cure and we'll see what happens. The reason this thing has so many holes in it is because this is a salvage set of tubes that came from a boat that disappeared into the water. Somebody found it. It was beating up against rocks, so it cut and chafed through. The whole floor was all chafed up, and this is actually part of the floor. I repurposed some of the floor as patches, and yeah. So if that holds air, we're going to get ready to prep the hull and the tubes here to get ready to attach it to the fiberglass. It's getting there. The weather's been really good this July, and we've been pretty busy, so we decided we'd take a nice relaxing day and head up to Queensland Beach. It was pretty fun. The water was almost warm, and the weather was really hot. What are you doing?
Watching show.
Nice.
And screaming at you.
So it's the first night on our new mooring, and everything's pretty good. The old mooring, we have to cut it loose or move it. It was bumping on the boat in the middle of the night, keeping us up. But it was a pretty calm night, and it's nice to be back in the arm. There's a bustle of activity going on. People are inflating dinghies, and there's boat tours going on, and so on and so forth. Alright, so let's talk about the mooring. There's a little bit of confusion about whether we own the mooring or not. Well, we didn't own the mooring last year. We were borrowing it from a friend, so it wasn't we weren't renting it or anything. We just kind of, a friend of ours had it and we were using it. After it dragged, he's got a yacht club membership, so he said, I'm done with that mooring, it's all yours. We bought him a bottle of rum and transferred the ownership of the mooring over to us, and so now it's our mooring. And the diver told us that there was only one weight down there and that everything looked okay-ish, but we decided that wasn't enough weight for us. Okay, so my crazy idea was to get a 1,000-pound block, put it on my trailer, shove it off into the beach, and wait for low tide. Tie a couple oil drums to it, and then drift it out. Now, in theory, that should work. Could have easily been done, but I was questioning the legalities, and I also didn't want to spend 3 to 4 days working on this project that probably, wasn't ideal in the end anyways. So we just said screw it, and we got the pros to do it. They've got a big, huge fishing boat with a crane on it, and they said they could do the whole job for $1,000 done. And we talked about it, and we did the math, and it's probably going to cost us $500 anyways to get a weight, add some new chain, get a diver out again, and all this stuff. So what we decided to do was just say screw it and spend the extra $500 and get it done professionally. And they put in a 2,000-pound block, which is what most of the yacht clubs around here have. So it's a brand new mooring, brand new chain, brand new swivel, brand new shackles, brand new ball, brand new bridle. So everything's new. We plunked it in. The mooring is now ours. We own it, and that's it. We're all good now. at Wreck Cove, everybody.
Who's everybody?
The people on the YouTube. We're hanging out at Wreck Cove for a lovely lunch. Super windy out there, but now it's nice here. And we've met a friend. His name, Steven Seagal. There he is. Steven Seagal. He doesn't like being videotaped. He's turned away. The crazy thing about Nova Scotia is the water's so dark. We're literally in 10, 11 feet of water and you can't even see the bottom. It's just a murky mess down there. Apparently it's because there's a lot of sea life, like algae and other things living. And in the Caribbean, the water is less rich with nutrients, apparently. It's what I read for the reason of this explanation. Steven, I see what you're up to.
Now he's getting me crackers.
You just ate our rice crackers.
So we go the other window?
Yep.
Hi, Steven and Steven too.
Bye, Steven.
And Steven too. Wow, I swayed you and it just flew away. Hi, Steven. He's right there.
Steven! Steven! Alright, so here's what's going on here. I have strapped this down and I traced all the way around where all the edges are so I can glue the tubes on all along here. So I traced around the whole thing, around the inside edge. Alright, here's my marks. Gotta sand and scuff all this stuff. Okay, I'm getting pretty excited. I prepped the bottom. It's holding air. It's been holding air for a couple days, which is rad. Nice. And I prepped this pretty darn good all around where I traced. So I'm really excited because it's time to glue the transom, the hull, to the tubes. So I'm moving this inside because Hypalon glue is sensitive to UVs rays, and I don't know if it's going to be a problem outside for an hour or not, but I'll tell you what, it does get awful brown if you leave it out in the sun. So I figured, how about no sun? How about that? Alright, the bottom's all glued. Got a nice holding layer onto the hull. Goes all the way around. After this, we gotta wait for this to cure for, I think, I'm going to wait anyways, 2 days, and then I'm gonna flip it, do the inside, and then I think it'll be done after that. There was a lot of talk about that if you could drag a mooring, then obviously it's not good enough for you. And I don't know if that's true. I generally agree, that's why we decided to get a new mooring. But if you think about it, this is a big boat, 34-foot boat, 12,000 pounds of displacement. Theoretically, our mooring was two 450-pound blocks, and it held us for the last 2 years, and they were stuck in the mud. After it got dragged, it wasn't so stuck in the mud. So 800 pounds is about 400 pounds in the water, because concrete loses half its weight. So if we take our very large boat and go at low tide, and you pull as much tackle up as possible, and then you tie it off to your front cleat, and then you wait for the tide to rise. As the tide's rising, your boat's definitely fully capable of lifting 800 pounds, maybe even 2,000 pounds off the bottom, because you could say 2,000 pounds would be 1,000 pounds of weight in the water, because concrete loses half its weight. So that's only 2, 4, 6, 8, 10,000 pounds of weight. That's 5 200-pound guys standing on the bow of your boat, which it obviously can hold. So if you tie it off and you wait for the tide to rise, after it's risen a foot or two, you've now winched essentially up the blocks a foot or two off of the water. At that point, you're not really dragging 2,000 pounds. You're only dragging whatever the drag resistance of this object on the bottom of the ground of the seabed is. So if you waited even longer, you'd have it, our tide's here about 6 feet sometimes, so you'd have it dangling 3 or 4 feet above the ground, and you could move it wherever you wanted. So that's my theory. I didn't prove that, but we only moved a what appears to be one 450-pound block, so yeah, it wasn't quite adequate, but I think it could be done. Just my theory.